Now, bringing you the very best in New Hampshire-based local music on IPMNation.com and 100.1 The Planet, this is Local Outbreak. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. Matt Connarton from IPMNation.com here with you. And we've got a very special show for you this week. I got to do an interview with my friend Otto Kinzel. And Otto is special to me because he and I used to play in a band together. And we have a long association together in the music industry going back about 20 years. That comes up in our phone interview. Also, I don't know if I would even have this opportunity doing Local Outbreak were it not for Otto. It's just how things unfolded. We didn't really get into that in our interview, though, that specifically. So maybe I'll tell the story afterward if we have time. And of course, if you're a longtime listener, a regular listener, you might already know the story of how I became the host of Local Outbreak. But yes, Otto did play a role in that. And the band that he and I were in together at the time, Chemical Distance, played a role in that. So, but I think for the opening segment, I want to play one of the newer tracks from Otto's band, Dust Prophet. This is called When the Axe Falls. So let's give this a listen. And then afterward in our next segment, we'll play the whole interview, including the radio premiere of the brand new single from Dust Prophet. But we'll do that in a little bit. But let's play this opening track. This is When the Axe Falls from Dust Prophet to open up this week's Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. and our old friend Otto Kinzel is on the line. Hello, Otto.
Hello, Matt. Can you hear me? Am I coming in clearly?
Absolutely. You sound great. It's been a while.
Thank you. I'm very nervous about the quality of my speaking voice. So knowing that I sound great, really, that's what I needed to get me through the end of the day.
Well, you have you've always had a kind of a deep voice. Have you ever thought about getting into voiceover work, voice acting?
I have. I just can't find the right role for me. I'm trying to, play passionate young princesses and dames in distress,
Yeah.
Dames in distress, like maybe they've been tied to some railroad tracks by a guy in a black hat and a crazy mustache, and they need someone to rescue them. And
yes,
not a lot of those roles are kicking around.
No, and it's a shame. But yes, it is wonderful to speak with you. I do. It's funny. Your name does come up on the show occasionally because you and I played in a band together at one time, Chemical Distance. And every once in a while, I'll play Red Queen's Race on the show, and I always tell.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I always tell people that was our big hit song. Although no one seems to remember it, it's odd. But I tell them no, it was a big hit. No, but we did get some.
We were huge in South Dakota for a little while, and that's kind of people seem to forget that.
Yeah, South Dakota and promoters in South Dakota. The other thing that people don't know is, they were just throwing bags of money at us to go and do a tour there, but we just could never quite work it out logistically. And but it's unfortunate for South Dakota, but those are great memories. And but you've been in a bunch of bands, but Dust Prophet, which seems to be, how long has this band been going? This has been a number of years now, right? That you've been in Dust Prophet?
Yeah, we started in 2018.
Okay.
So lucky us, it was like we started and we're getting things going. We played some shows. It was late 2018. So really, you meet people, it usually takes a few months of jamming with different people before you find the right parts and the right musicians and the right songs. So it was really about 2019 when we got going, like mid 2019, and then the pandemic happened and everything went on the back burner. And it's really only been since early 2020, early last year, that we kind of were able to get back out and start over again.
And it's a three-piece, correct? It's a trio?
Correct. It's myself on guitar and vocals, Sarah, have you ever met Sarah Wappler? I feel like we've crossed paths maybe after Chem D when I was doing Fiends.
Yeah.
Because I came on your show a couple of times.
Right. I don't remember meeting her.
Okay. I think you guys have. I just can't place it. And then our drummer is Tyler McPherson. And actually, starting next Saturday with the show at Jewel, we're expanding to a four-piece. We have a live guitar player.
Oh, cool.
Jason Stelf, who did the mixing and mastering on our album, is actually going to fill in as an extra guitar player live. I'm going to try and maybe focus a little bit more on the vocals live and also like some additional hand drums and percussion, stuff like that. So.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Does he now, he mixed and mastered the music or he produced it or what?
Yeah. So we did all of the hard tracking in my home studio, and I did all the engineering essentially. So
yeah.
And then after all the tracking was done, I did most of the track editing and other stuff. And we got Jay to do the mixing initially because we just wanted an outside opinion. It got to the point where I had started mixing, and it's a song you've already listened to 1,000 times between practice and playing it live, and just take after take of tracking, whether it's drums or bass or guitar or whatever. So we wanted to bring in somebody that had a completely objective opinion, somebody that would be able to listen to it with honest and fresh ears. And Jay came in and did that. And then we had initially it was being mastered by a different studio. We had some problems, and it didn't work out, so Jay was able to jump in and save the day, and so now he's... And I think you have met him before. Do you remember when I was in Worm Drive?
Yes. Oh, vividly. Yeah, I think that's the band you were in when you and I first met, correct?
Yes. You were doing My Life Crisis.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. So Jay was the guitar player from Worm Drive, and we kind of reconnected maybe a year and a half ago. He
Cool.
did some mixing for a couple of solo songs that I put out. Again, I wanted somebody that can be objective and outside opinion, who understood the music, but would be able to give it honest attention and not be biased by if it was me doing it. The old joke is you can tell which band member mixed the music by which instrument is loudest.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I didn't want. So
right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, when you've listened to the same thing so many times, and it's almost I've heard some people describe this phenomenon where you almost begin to hear things that aren't even there, because your imagination starts to fill in some of the blanks of what you're listening to, and it's a strange thing. So no, that makes sense. And of course, you've always, I mean, for as long as I've known you, you've always been. I mean, have you ever really had any project where you had someone else doing the engineering part, you're recording the tracks, or because it seems like like in Chemical Distance, that was all done at your, I remember the basement where you used to live, where you had everything set up there.
When the first house we had when we used to live, I guess I can say since I don't live there anymore, but when I lived in Raymond.
Yeah. I mean.
I'm sorry. What was the question? Have I ever recorded at another studio? Do you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, I did very early on. So when I was in college, and I, get a couple of college bands here and there. We went to, that was my first time being in a proper studio. It was a studio out in Moultonboro, New Hampshire. I went to Plymouth State.
Yeah.
And that was the first time, and it was kind of eye-opening. I remember being really nervous. Then again, I was also like 18, and I knew time was money, and it was going to cost all this money that none of us had. So it was like, all right, can we record 7 songs in 4 hours? And then we very quickly learned that wasn't going to happen. So we're like, all right, let's do like 3 and try and go from there.
Yeah.
And I had been in actually Worm Drive, had a chance to go record down in Springfield, Mass for like 3 or 4 days. And so I do have some experience recording in outside studios. For me personally, I always end up feeling like I can't really be free. It's always in the back of my mind, if you screw this up, that's another take.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be more money. It's more pressure to get it done so you're not bleeding money out the window. And I have always just wanted to be able to feel comfortable and do as many takes as I want, whether it's guitar or vocals, and do as many overdubs as I want, play around with different effects and do it in real time, because sometimes that creates inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And that's tough to do when you're paying, but when you can kind of control the narrative and you're doing it all yourself, then, it costs money in a different way, but at least not by the hour, so to speak. So I've always sort of leaned to that. And when I moved into our first house in Raymond, and you and I started jamming with Michael, that's where I started building the home studio, and I refined it. And now, I've had a chance to do it for a third time. And in where we live now, the basement was completely unfinished, so I could build it literally from the studs up. And
oh, cool.
It was fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's, we're fortunate. We live in a time where it's, obviously over the years, the technology just continues to improve, and you can do more and more than you could before in a home studio, any kind of a home studio setup. And it's wonderful to, I mean, I assume for you, from your perspective, the process has probably changed somewhat over the years, I would imagine, right? Just with the
I don't know if you remember in the original studio, I had that big casting couch. I think you actually fell asleep on it one time by accident. So, I started off. I think I was a junior in high school when I got. Do you remember the old Tascam 4-tracks in like the mid to late '90s? And you literally put like a recording cassette tape inside of it. Do you remember that?
Oh, vividly. I had one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So same here. And then I think I was a junior in high school. I got the 8-track version.
Yeah.
The Tascam 8-track, you could still only record 4 tracks at a time, but now you had the other 4 tracks or bouncing and overdubs or, whatever, And I remember being so psyched and having that. And it's funny to look back now because it's kind of like talking about how you felt when you first got a Walkman.
Right.
It's cassette tape. And then, but the idea of getting reel-to-reel or anything like that big studios were using, and that was the thing, being in the studio in Moultonborough, going down to Springfield, Mass. to record, they were all analog doing reel-to-reel.
Oh, wow.
So
really?
It's like that was completely out of the question. And then I remember getting the first digital 16-track, and then as technology has moved, it's just becoming much more affordable to get high-quality home recording equipment as long as you are willing to spend the money and put into work to make the room you're recording in really good acoustically.
Mm-hmm.
The actual hardware of it and some of the software is relatively affordable. To have that like a professional studio in the mid-'90s, you had to have a ton of money, and the equipment was not nearly as accessible or learnable as it is today.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And now since we were in Chemical Distance together, so what you had you had a couple of bands before this one, right? Before Dust Prophet?
Yeah, so I was thinking about it. I think I first met you, I was in Black Eye Susan. It was the techno industrial. Yeah, okay.
That's right. Yeah.
That's where I first ran into you when you were doing My Life Crisis. And kind of remember, that's a long time ago. That might be like 20 years ago, Matt.
I know. It's I know. It's incredible. It's and time goes
20
by.
Years ago.
Time goes by quicker as we get older. Have you noticed that? It really sucks.
Yeah.
It's really
believe me, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I'm it's funny, we're still talking, we're still doing stuff. And we're still both involved just in the same sort of universe. But, it's like we're both a little older, a little grayer, in my case, a little bit fatter, it's kind of, yeah. So I think I've already peaked. So.
But yeah, you've been in quite a few bands, and that's why I took notice too with Dust Prophet, because I know some of the projects that you've done, have been just kind of, not that long, because you've always had a lot of, I guess for the 20 years now that I've known you, I mean, you've always had a lot of energy and you like to you've got multiple musical projects going at once, but what is it about Dust Prophet that, like I said, 4 years, I mean, you've been really committed to this band. You've put out a lot of great material. What is it about Dust Prophet that is, absolutely. What is it about Dust Prophet that has caused you to really, because it doesn't look like this is slowing down, right? Like you're gonna stick with this band, I think.
Ramping up, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is ramping up. We have a full-length album, our debut album. It's going to come out the very end of January 27th. Actually, pre-orders for it are going to start on Sunday. And we're going to have it, digital download. We're going to have CDs. We are in the process of also getting vinyl printed.
Cool.
What made me sort of latch on to Dust Prophet, I have so much more of an emotional connection to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, the struggle to get this thing. So after Fiends broke up, Fiends of a New Republic, that's the first band I played in with Sarah.
Oh.
And that was, at that point, I was sort of, I'd been doing like industrial music and industrial electronic metal for a long time. And I just sort of got sick of using backing tracks and having to have some of the synth stuff on stage. And, even though we never had a major incident as far as like a tech breakdown, we had played some shows where other bands did, and it always put the fear of God into me.
Yeah.
Sarah was sort of transitioning from being primarily a keyboardist to playing guitar and bass, and she really embraced wanting to play bass. And she always loved the slower stoner rock, stoner metal type bands that had really groovy riffs and were just focused on the groove and the riff and not necessarily brutality or like technical finesse the way, I've been in some technical metal bands where it was like, how crazy can you play and how many different off time things do you have? And And even one of the projects I did, Skin Drone, was all about like brutal extreme metal.
Mm-hmm.
This was something that really I'd never really embraced it before. So we started writing like stoner riffs, and she's in the band probably like she's the majority of the music writer. She writes the majority of our riffs and all that. So it just was like it took so long to get it, and we went through so many obstacles. At some point, I think I remember both of us kind of be like, "This is never going to happen. Let's just move on to something else." And that's when we found Tyler, and he tied it all together and made it happen. And then, through COVID and all the other things, for a while it seemed like we were never going to play a show.
Yeah.
And, like I was never going to play another live show because we didn't know what was happening in the world.
Yeah.
So when we finally got to it, just was like, I think it was one of those things where I took it for granted when I was in it.
Yeah.
Post-pandemic, it's really changed my perspective, especially as a father with, trying to show that to both of my kids, that, without being morbid about it, tomorrow's not guaranteed. You got to embrace today and really do it. It's one thing to say it. It's something I've been trying to actually do, though.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I get that. Absolutely. Yeah, no, this is...
and you mentioned a lot of... I have been in a lot of bands and released a lot of stuff, but a lot of those were like one-off projects. I mentioned Skin Drone.
Yeah.
That was strictly just something we did as a one-off. The guy that I recorded the album with lives in, I think he was living in Arkansas at the time. So, I was recording stuff up here, emailing him WAV files and whatnot, and he'd record his vocals and send them back here and stuff like that. There were other projects that were just kind of these one-off things. So it was Black Eye Susan and Worm Drive is where you and I worked together the most. And then after that, it was a long break before I put out the, we did Chem D, and then I put out the Zodiac album. So.
Oh, yes. I think I remember interviewing you for that.
Yeah, you did. You definitely did. I would have milked that for all I was worth. Like, Matt, hey, can I come on your show like 2 or 3 times?
No, that was a really cool project. Yeah. So you have done a lot of, like I said, that's why I'm so interested in the way Dust Prophet, you seem to be really in this for the long haul, and I think it's so cool. I love the sound. I've played I'm going to play Hourglass later probably. I love I love that track. I've played that a couple of times, and Dear Mrs. Bud, and and it's appropriate too for Halloween, these songs, and of course today we're going to do the world radio premiere of the new single. But we should also mention too. So and you brought it up earlier. Actually, we should circle back to that. November 5th at Jewel, and I will.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I'm going to be there. Jenny and I will be there representing, and William from Sepsis invited us to participate, and I think we might be introducing a couple of the bands or something. Well, I have to talk with him about details. We got to figure that out. Actually, we got to figure that out soon. It's only a week away now. But so,
well, if you want to introduce us, I'd be honored. It'd be awesome.
Oh wow!
And,
that would be.
We're very excited. We're very fortunate that Sepsis, asked us to look into it and to be included on it. I saw that they were putting something together, and I think I'd contacted William back in, I want to say it was like midsummer, maybe July.
Yeah.
And, they thought, we'd be a good support act, which we're very grateful for. We're psyched to be playing it, and the whole bill is stacked.
Yeah.
1620 and Trawl and Day to Remember and Trading Tombstones. I mean, it's like from top to bottom. It's everybody's awesome.
Day to attend.
Like, oh man, we have to really bring it because otherwise,
yeah,
we don't want to get, we don't want to look like the odd man out, like the weak band. So we gotta bring it with the stage energy. But it's cool. It's going to be a super fun night, and I am eternally grateful that Dust Prophet gets to be part of it. It's super awesome. This will probably be our last show of the year unless a couple other things trickle in. But we have a lot going on, a lot of stuff we have to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So having some time off just to focus on, the new stage show now that we're going to have a live guitarist, and how are we going to incorporate additional percussion, and how are we going to, expand this thing. And we have more songs excuse me, more songs and some covers, and it's like there's only so many hours in the day. So
right.
I think playing Swarmy Fest to end the year would be awesome. Finally getting to play in Manchester and with so many other awesome bands. It's going to be an epic night.
Yeah, you mentioned Day to Attend. They're going to be here next week. They're coming in on Wednesday. They're going to do an acoustic performance.
I saw that. I'm definitely going to tune in for that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I've interviewed Jeff Richards a couple of times over the years when he was in Eden's Lie. That band, he was in that for a really long time. I'm surprised they're not. I mean, they might have been around for 20 years. My God, but I really like Day to Attend. They're really good band. So that'll be a lot of fun. So that's Jewel at. That's at Jewel on November 5th. And Jenny had said in the chat room, she saw something about it being sold out already.
It might be. I mean, so far it looks like it's getting pretty crazy with the attendance, which is very exciting. Very exciting. It's pretty cool. Again, I mentioned it's going to be a great show. If this is our final show of the year, and it's one hell of a show to end 2022 on.
Absolutely.
Incredible. I'm just so excited to be a part of it. And so we all are. We're very excited to be a part of this. It's going to be an awesome gig. Really looking forward to seeing all the other bands.
It's
going to be fun and going to be one hell of a way to end the year.
Definitely. And what do you want us to know about this? So we've got a new track here that we're going to be debuting on the show in a moment, Put to the Question. What should we know about this, Otto? Anything you want us to know about this before we play it?
No, I mean, it's most of my lyrical themes, if you look at the different songs we have, there's a lot of stuff about, I hate to bring up, I mean, it's Dear Mrs. Budd, it's about Albert Fish, but we don't write a lot about serial killers. That's just one particular subject matter that interests me. But, I read a lot of Southern Gothic fiction. I love Flannery O'Connor. She's probably one of my all-time favorite authors. Good Man is Hard to Find and Wise Blood and all those sorts of things that heavily influences the lyrical tone. And so Put to the Question sort of comes from that same sphere of influence. It's sort of a little bit about the Inquisition, but not really. It's kind of back then, if you were a holy person who was also being accused, that was referred to as being put to the question, and then that's when they would do horrible tortures to get you to admit through excruciating pain that you were guilty of whatever it is you were guilty of. So,
gotcha.
But other than that, this is a song I think 95% of it Sarah wrote. Again, she's our primary riff writer, so if there's Dust Prophet riffs you like, she's certainly and most likely the one that was the mastermind behind them. And it just sort of all came together.
Cool. And you write all the lyrics, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. I've heard the track and I really love it. I'm looking forward to sharing it with everybody. And this is available today online, correct? This was just released today?
Absolutely, yep. Go right to our Bandcamp, dustprophet.com, and get it right there. It's available. Pay what you want.
Yep.
You can download it for free if you want. So we
yeah.
just want to get it out there. It's just a way to hopefully gain a few more fans and get a few more people to notice us before the album drops end of January.
Excellent. And we look forward to. We'll have to have you back on to talk about that too when the time comes for the album. But Otto, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll let you go, and then I'm gonna play the track. Put to the Question, the world radio premiere, as we like to say, right here on WMNH. But Otto, it is wonderful to talk with you, my friend. We must do it more often. Obviously, we've known each other a long time, and it's always a pleasure. And you are someone, not to get sappy, but you're someone I admire because you've done so many different things musically and your talent and everything. And having gotten to be in a band with you was a lot of fun too. So I really appreciate this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you on November 5th at Jewel. That'll be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you saying that. But I'm only as I don't think there's anything particularly great about me. I mean, we played in a band together, and there was three of us, and you were an equal member of what contributed to what happened to any good songs we had. And so, I mean, it takes probably why most of my stuff that I do strictly on my own probably isn't that great. I think I'm more born to work with other people. That sort of, and I need other people to help me do what I do. So yeah, man, you're always a part of that.
Oh, thank you.
We had a lot of fun, and absolutely, man, I look forward to seeing you in person.
Yeah.
Next Saturday the 5th at Stormy Fest, and we can certainly reminisce. And I think Michael will be there as well, so
cool.
Maybe we could have an impromptu Chem D reunion. We'll just have to learn a song. So
that's right.
Maybe Red Queen's Race.
I think I remember the bass line. Very good.
I don't remember anything about it. I barely even remember the song itself, so I'll have to go back and listen to it.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, we'll let you go, and I'm going to play the song. Otto, thank you so much again, my friend, and we'll see you soon.
All right, you got it, buddy. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. All right, that is our friend Otto Kinzel from the band Dust Prophet, and here it is. This is the brand new track, just came out today. This is the world radio premiere, Dust Prophet, Put to the Question.
To know your pain, he needs to feel your anguish, so that he knows he's right. Come dance with me through eternal fire. Come dance with me in the river of blood. Come dance with me through eternal fires to the end of time. It's what he desires. God demands an answer. He only wants the truth. God demands an answer.
welcome back, everybody. It's Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet and IPM Nation. Matt Connarton from IPMNation.com here with you. And I kind of teased it at the top of the show, but I didn't get into it, and we didn't get into it during our conversation. My recent phone interview with Otto Kinzel from the band Dust Prophet. But I mentioned that were it not for Otto, I don't know if I would be hosting Local Outbreak for the past 13 years. Yes, in December, it will be 13 years of Local Outbreak. Unreal. But now, if you're a long-time listener, if you're a consistent listener, you might already know the story, so I'll keep it relatively brief. But Otto and I were in a band together called Chemical Distance, and we were invited to appear on a brand new show airing on 100.1 The Planet called Local Outbreak. I am not the original host of Local Outbreak. Local Outbreak was originally hosted by my very good friend Mike Laughlin, who I also have a long association with in the music industry. But Mike, a very talented gentleman, he was the original host, but he didn't necessarily have a lot of time to do the show on a consistent basis. And Annie Biello, who was the program director at the time at 100.1 The Planet, she seemed to think I was good during the interview. Actually, it wasn't, although Otto wasn't able to attend the interview, it was me, and we were a trio. There were three of us in Chemical Distance. It was myself, Otto, and Michael Hauptley Pierce. And so Mike and I went to do the interview because Otto wasn't able to join us that evening. But I remember we drove up to Laconia in a snowstorm, but it was all worth it. And I mentioned to Annie, the program director, and to Mike Laughlin, who was hosting the show. I said, hey, if you ever need any help, I'm into what you're doing. Let me know if I can help. To make a long story very short, next thing you know, I'm hosting the show. But it all started with that interview with me going up with Michael Hauptley Pierce and representing Chemical Distance. So were it not for Otto inviting me to join the band Chemical Distance, I don't know if I would be hosting Local Outbreak right now. So all these little twists and turns in our lives, and one thing leads to another. So it's kind of fun to look back and see where things started. So there you go. So that's what I was referring to earlier at the top of the show. But let's play some more Dust Prophet. I really love this band, and Otto requested that I include this one in the program, and this is probably my favorite track of Dust Prophet anyway, so this worked out quite well. This is a great track. This is called Hourglass from Dust Prophet, next on Local Outbreak. Hey everybody, local outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. Matt Connarton here. We do not have time for another Dust Prophet song on the show this week because their songs are very long. So I'll just say thank you again to my good friend Otto Kinzel for joining me. Great discussion. And I know what I'll do. I'll leave you with this because I referred to it earlier. Here's a little song by a band called Chemical Distance, the band that Otto Kinzel and I were in together years and years ago. This is Red Queen's Race by Chemical Distance to close out this week's local outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet.
Just a million other cars and me. FL Tunes plays again and again. He's a thinker, hit the blinker on the off-ramp man. Main Street looking up and down, wondering how the hell did I end up in this town? Where is the bridge to yesterday? I'm looking for tomorrow in a yesterday way. Memories of golden days don't tarnish with age. We reinvent them every time they take the stage. Remembering as we're fighting through the everyday ways, pretending that we're heading for the golden days. On the car, drop a quarter or two. My last few moments of freedom on the avenue. I'll punch the clock, cause what else can I do? Half a day is half a lifetime, but I'm making it through. Walking out as the evening creeps around the corner of another day I just can't keep. People I meet seem to see through me, only thinking of the places they would rather be. It's like they run the Red Queen's race, faster and faster just to stay in one place. I drive home glad it's over, but then I'll only have to do it all over again. Memories of the golden days don't tarnish with age. We reinvent them every time they take the stage, pretending that we're heading for the golden days. 6 a.m. and I hear the alarm.